Moving to another state sounds exciting until you realize how many moving parts there really are. Most people don't have a clear plan, and that's why 61% of people say that moving is one of the most stressful things they've ever done. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how to relocate to a brand new state, from deciding where to go or wherever you are at in the process to your move-in day, whether you're renting or buying to start. After you listen to this step by step, you will not miss a beat in the process. Let's dive in. Hi guys, I'm Ashley. Welcome to my channel. I am a licensed realtor and I work as a realtor matchmaker. So I pair relocating home buyers like you with vetted quality real estate agents all over the country. And I help by providing a clear plan to follow. So whether you are planning to buy or rent, but either way, you are moving to a new state, you are in the right place. Your very first step is figuring out where to go. Now, you may have already decided this information, but stick around, listen in, because maybe there's something here you haven't considered yet. If you are planning to buy in the place you're moving to, before you can even get to that point, you need to lock in exact location details. A few things that you want to consider, whether you're moving just by yourself or you're moving with your family, and conversation to have with other decision makers in the family, would be a city comparison. So look at the cost of living, the economy, local industries, the job market, and the general lifestyle. Then you want to narrow down your neighborhoods as much as possible, because there are a lot of nuance from neighborhood to neighborhood in terms of what you have access to, the amenities, drive time to certain locations, and again, your ideal lifestyle. Overall, you just want to have a better understanding of what your priorities are for wherever you live. What do you want to have access to and what's important for your family? You also want to make sure that your neighborhood fits you, not just your budget. A side note before we go any deeper, this is why I recommend finding your local real estate agent early on in the process, because if this already is overwhelming, like trying to understand what neighborhood you should even look at, this is exactly where a realtor can help you. This local realtor knows the nuance of the neighborhoods. They can understand your ideal lifestyle from what you're saying that you are interested in, and then they can help guide you in that direction. They can even help you understand what different price points are going to get you in different areas. So even if you are researching several different locations, I recommend partnering with a real estate agent at the exploration phase, because you don't need to buy. Even if you have a conversation with a real estate agent, or you even have a contract that they're going to be your representing realtor, you don't need to buy anything with them. So you absolutely can partner with real estate agents in different cities or states that you're still exploring to help better understand what you're getting yourself into if you move there. So here's a couple categories that you want to consider. And again, if you've already defined where it is that you're moving to, then just come back to these, consider them, have conversations between you and any other decision makers in the move to make sure you are fully aligned. So consider the ideal community vibe. Do you want it to be quiet? Do you want it to be loud? Do you want to be walkable to certain amenities? Do you want the community to be able to offer amenities to you, like a pool or a fitness center? Do you have pets in the family? How close is the nearest dog park? And then daily essentials like the gym and the grocery store. Do you have any preferences there, and how close are they for your drive time? There's different lifestyle considerations like restaurants you might like, or nature access, or culture, which just means things like music and sports, and how accessible are those. If you commute often in the car, or you are flying often, then you want to look at where your closest airport is and how easy it is to get there, and what is your commute time, because if you're 10 miles to the west or 10 miles to east, your commute time could be wildly different, and you really don't know what that traffic pattern looks like when you're moving to a new area. Another reason why a realtor can help you at this stage. Or just go into your Google Maps and put in a set time that you're planning to leave, so that you can get an idea of what traffic patterns are, because if you are a commuter, this really impacts your day-to-day, and you want to make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. Something else that you want to look into is safety and crime awareness, and this is actually not something that a realtor can specifically tell you, but they can point you in the direction of local websites and resources to look into and investigate those for yourself. Okay, your second step is getting financially ready. Now that you know a general location you're interested in moving to, it's time to make sure that you financially are prepared for that move. There's 3 big categories here: budget overall, and cost of living considerations, the cost of your move, and whether you're planning to buy or rent, being financially prepared for that process. Now, the following number has a lot of considerations involved, but a long distance move can easily cost upwards of $4,000. This can vary a lot depending on who's driving your items, the distance, how many people are in your family, how big of a house or square footage you are packing up and moving. So there's a lot of variables here, but it is definitely something to budget for. Specifically, things to consider would be the moving cost, your down payment and closing costs if you're planning to buy, or the security deposit and any initial payments a rental application might require. Credit check, which if your credit's not good, then we're going to have to go back a lot further and expand this timeline to make sure you can get your credit in a good place. And then if you are planning to buy, you want to understand the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification and make sure that you have the right documentation and you're partnered with the right mortgage lender early on in the process so that you know what you can afford buying. Just as a little insight here, a pre-approval uses a lot more specific documentation to prove what you can afford, and a pre-qualification is a lot more vague and it's not going to get you as far down the road as you need. So it just kind of depends on your buying timeline when you want to get that pre-approval, because for the most part, they're good for 90 days and you can always re-up them, but things change. And so just consider your buying timeline for when you want to get that pre-approval. Step 3 is building your team. Now, there might be some reasons why you want to build your team a little sooner, and I've already mentioned those, like the realtor, as well as understanding your finances. At some point, you're going to want to partner with the right mortgage lender. But if you haven't done it yet, you have to do it now. Not having the right people in your corner is honestly where most people make the biggest mistake. They just Google for an agent and hope for the best. Or they just work with the first mortgage lender that populates in the Google results and hope for the best. Let's not hope for the best. Let's work with the best. And when you're relocating, whether it's to a new city or a brand new state or cross country, you really want to work with someone that understands the nuances of that type of process and that type of home buying. You might have to buy from far away, or you may have just an added complication of your move timeline, and you want to work with a professional that understands the specifics of your scenario. So I'm going to recommend that you talk to at least 2 or 3 different mortgage lenders, because while they can offer something similar, they will often have access to different programs. And if you work with a local mortgage lender, you might be able to find someone who can offer you certain benefits because you're relocating, depending on where you're moving to or where you're moving from. There sometimes can be relocation programs related to mortgages. And you might even consider speaking to a mortgage broker, because a mortgage broker is going to have access to all sorts of lending, whereas a lender is only going to have access to what their institution can offer. So speak to several different mortgage institutions and make sure you are working with the one that can financially offer you what you need, but also someone who's going to have a really great response time, is really friendly, and you enjoy working with, because this person is going to make sure that you can financially close on your house. Again, this is if you're planning to buy. Like I said, you want to prepare to get pre-approved. And so the earlier on that you partner with the right mortgage lender, the sooner they're going to be able to help you prepare all of your finances and help you avoid big mistakes like financing a car in the middle of trying to buy a house. That's a big no-no. And then, of course, you want to find the right agent. And I'm going to highly recommend that you do not work with the agent that is on the Zillow listing for the house that you're looking at online and really love. This agent is paying to play. That does not necessarily mean that they're the best agent in the area or the best agent for you. This is another situation you're going to be working so closely with your realtor. You want to make sure that there's a chemistry and a synergy, and that they really understand your unique needs in terms of what you're trying to buy, as well as your move process. This is where I step in. I understand what's you as a relocating home buyer, like what's your needs and what's your familiarity with real estate, where are you trying to move to, what's your timeline, what's your budget. And then with that information, I will pair you with a local agent that I've vetted that's in my personal Rolodex of agents that I refer out, and make sure that it's a good chemistry match. So I'll mention it again at the end, and it will also be in the caption, but you can always send me a direct message or comment in the videos the word referral, and I'll send you information on how to start with the process of getting a referral. It's free. We'll talk a little bit more about it later. Okay, once you have your team and your location and your finances all set, this is when you can really start the house search. Again, this is going to be a little different whether you are buying or renting, but regardless, this will apply across the board. If you're on a really tight time frame, I'm going to recommend that when you're 60 days out from your ideal day of living in that area, this is when you really start looking at houses and you start doing tours. Now, if you're not local in the area, you can do virtual tours, and this is where having the right realtor is going to be key, because they can go and do these virtual tours in person for you and bring you on live video streams or send you videos and pictures and help you narrow down what you are interested in looking at. I'm going to highly recommend that you fit into your plan at least one trip to visit the new city and to tour the houses in person. Some people will rent or buy sight unseen, and sometimes people just have to do this based on their timeline and their availability. And this is, again, where you want to have a really great partner who can tour these in person for you and make sure that they match the ideal living scenario based on what you've described. As you are doing the house searches online or in person, you will probably start narrowing down your neighborhoods even more. And that is going to be a good thing, because otherwise you will be so overwhelmed in your process. This is also where you can start discussing what your offer to purchase strategy is going to look like in terms of finances and what other contingencies you might be putting in your offer and timelines to consider. A few red flags to consider if you are house shopping online would be things like there's no interior photos, overly edited images makes it kind of fishy in what you might be hiding, or listings that keep going back on the market. It could just be that a buyer's financing fell through, or it could be that something weird was uncovered in inspections. Either way, this is a little fishy. In general, I always tell my clients, hold your breath a little bit. If you have fallen in love with a house from the photos online, your experience in person could be wildly different. And the same is in reverse. If you see something online that doesn't really ring true, but you tour it in person, you might fall in love or surprise yourself. Whether you're seeing it and you like it or you don't when you're shopping online, just hold your breath a little bit and be open-minded, because you don't know what you're going to find out when you tour it in person. Other things that you want to have conversations with your mortgage lender and your realtor about are the general market competitiveness. This is going to change depending on what season you're in, but also going to change on your locality, and your local realtor will be able to give you a clue on whether it's a buyer's or seller's market wherever you're shopping. You also want to have an understanding of what your timeline pressure is. So when a house hits the market, is it really important to get an offer in ASAP, or does your realtor think that you're going to have a little bit of time? How quickly do you need to be ready to make a move and put an offer in? And then just have a conversation with the agent that you get paired with and that you want to work with, and ask them how you guys can work cohesively together being remote. Step 5, you want to officially plan the move. Now, whether you're buying or renting, you know where you're going at this point, and it's time to plan the moving process. This is going to be logistics heavy, and this is where the process is going to feel like it's moving really, really fast. And so this research you're doing now, you're going to thank yourself later. You need to decide if you're going to hire movers or if you're going to do the process yourself. And there are so many different places that you can hire movers from. There's professional moving companies, but you can also go on to platforms like TaskRabbit, give someone a couple $100 to move. So you have a lot of different options, and you need to compare your ideal scenario with your budget. I think it's also going to be helpful that you create a little bit of a packing timeline so that you don't put it all off to the end and then feel really pressured and stressed out. So take a look at how much square footage of a house you need to pack, if there's anything you need to sell or donate, and then go room by room and decide what your overall packing plan is going to be, and just build out a timeline again so that it's not all left for the last minute. For context, a 2 to 3 bedroom house could take about 5 to 7 days to pack, depending on your availability to do so. My recommendation is that you start at least 4 to 6 weeks before you plan your move. You pack non-essentials first, label everything in the boxes with way more detail than you think you need to. And I would say create like a moving survival kit. So you're going to want to put a couple items to the side that you know you're going to want to have access to while you're actually doing the move, or in the first week when you land in your new home, and just some items that are going to feel maybe like non-essentials, but they're going to give you comfort. Okay, this is step 6, and it is the final weeks and the move-in process. The last 30 days is where everything comes together. Ideally, at this point, you have an offer accepted on a home, or you have applications for a rental that are accepted, and you have your targeted move-in date, which is between now and 30 days. What this means is that inspections and appraisals are happening. If you're buying a house, you're transferring your utilities and getting those set up. and you're processing your address change and mail forwarding. The week of the move, a few things you want to do. Make sure you have your essentials in a box. You confirm the movers that they're on time and that you are on the same page. And then you do a final walkthrough of the property that you're buying. Now, obviously, if you live in a different state, you're going to have your real estate agent do the final walkthrough. Or if you're renting, just confirm with the property management company that everything is in place for your agreed upon move-in day. Honestly, this is the part where you need to give yourself a little bit of grace because moving in general is just a lot of work and you are trying to buy at the same time and you're moving to probably a brand new area. So just breathe. So the last bit here is just a little bit of bonus information for you. This is what people don't expect. This is what nobody tells you. Every state has different real estate rules and laws. So if you have familiarity with real estate wherever you live now, do not assume that it works the exact same in your new state. Make sure to ask all the questions to your real estate agent about this. For example, the closing process might be different. The people that you partner with, some states require attorneys, some states require title companies to be more heavily involved. The financial payment structure is different from state to state, and deposits and timelines can vary. Assuming that real estate is the same across the entire country is probably one of the biggest mistakes that a relocating home buyer can make. So have this conversation very thoroughly with your realtor. I hope this video is helpful in giving you a plan for your step-by-step move from wherever you are in the process today to your move-in day. And if you want to dive even deeper, you can actually get my relocation roadmap. This is a digital resource and it's self-paced. I have a printed version here, but you are going to get a digital version that you can elect to print out. And it comes with some video introductions and explanations from me. And it's just all of what I've just talked about with like a bajillion times more detail. So the relocation roadmap is available. All you have to do is comment the word roadmap at the bottom of this video, and I'll send you a link to acquire the resource. And if at any point in the process, now, later, tomorrow, yesterday, if you want a referral to a local real estate agent, depending on where you're living, this is totally free to you. It doesn't cost you anything to get a referral from me. So you can comment the word referral. I'll send you that related information to get that process started. It's basically going to be you and I having a quick conversation so that I understand what you are needing to do in your move and in your real estate needs, and then make sure that I pair you with the right agent. I will give you the option and you can do your final interview, shall I say, to make sure that this is the agent you want to work with. If either of those things sound helpful, then find me in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.